Hey, what's up, Aries? Welcome to another Timeless General Tarot reading. I'm going to be doing my 139 read using the anime tarot as core energy, supported by the traditional tarots for supporting energy and then clarifications on support. So, without any further ado, allow us to find your core energy for this reading. While we're getting this set up, make sure that you like, share, and subscribe to this channel and any videos that you prefer. Don't be afraid to leave a comment if there's anything you can advise me towards in terms of improvements for the channel. So right off the bat, here we go. Core energy for the reading. We're looking at Seven of Cups. Water energy that does have a bit of diminishment with your core energy of fire. Your Aries energy by default is going to diminish this to some extent, even though it's in the upright. This is an energy about variety, so perhaps you are not too excited about some variety that is at your doorstep. Perhaps you aren't quite so inclined to be anticipating what kind of variety could be around the corner, or you're not anticipating the work required to sift through these options, but one way or the other, this would be signifying that you are having options presenting themselves to you, which isn't necessarily a bad problem to have, and you're fortunate enough that it's in the upright. However, usually this card ends up taking a little bit of work because you have to... Dang it. One of my cards is really bent. I'm just going to have to exclude that card for now. One of the issues here is that you are going to have to put in some effort to make sure that you don't make a lazy decision here on your choices. You need to make sure that you use some diligence to filter out the options that are at your doorstep. Otherwise, you could be prone to being misled into an option that is not actually the one that you desire. Or you could be misled into an option that isn't the best for you, that isn't the greatest option at your disposal. So let's see what we can get here for some clarifiers. It's not a bad card to have, but that card definitely can get clarified. So right off the bat here, we've got Five of Pentacles. Another card that doesn't necessarily vibe super well with your fire energy. This card can mean if there's potential for one of your choices to not pan out great. There's potential for one of your choices to leave you feeling very destitute. There's potential for one of these choices to actually not be so good for you, not actually empower you to the degree that you would desire. So that's very interesting. It's definitely a warning, once again, that you need to be very diligent in filtering your options. If you make a lazy or hasty decision within your variety, it does have the potential here to sort of boomerang back on you to a certain extent. Right, to the next clarifier, the Tower card. Wow. This is definitely turning into a... Oh, and I think Aries is the Tower. I think Tower is Aries energy, if I'm not mistaken. So even looking at Aries coming out in this major arcana, the Five of Pentacles feels like the Tower. When the Tower is happening to you, it can feel like you are really in loss and that you're definitely in destitution. So this is another very stark warning that you have got to make sure that you have a lot of diligence in filtering out your options. If you do not filter out your options well, you are going to you're going to pick an option that is not good, which to a certain extent what that suggests is that there's some kind of demon hidden within your options. There's very likely an option here that you want. It could be the one that you want the most. However, it looks as if that option is putting up a facade. It looks like that option is not being authentic about itself. And if you don't manage to uncover that part of it before you choose it, there is a good shot that you will be left in destitution and that you will be taking a great fall over it. And that's very disappointing to see, but that's what these cards are insinuating here. So allow me to continue, because this is turning into a very interesting energy so far. And by fortune, your energy is the Tower, the Aries energy, so I'm not exactly sure where you would wind up dealing with this Tower, especially because you're in the upright Seven of Cups. So ideally you would be able to understand that you need to pick the right choice, but there's a lot of warnings here that you are going to pick a choice that will inevitably lead to growth. So sort of what this is suggesting is that you might make the right choice, but it's not going to feel like it for a while. The choice you make was put there for you to make so you can grow in this fashion, which is very disappointing, because do we really need those failures in order to grow? The universe is half insinuating here that you do. So here's the final clarifier for Seven of Cups. We are looking at the Emperor, Aries energy. Let me see, how does this look? Okay, so I can move these up a little bit. Very, very strong growth from whatever this Tower is. So sort of speaks to what I was just saying, to be honest with you, which I know is kind of cliche from tarot readers, but it happens. Going from the Tower to the Emperor, that is quite a restabilization. So whatever this Seven of Cups energy is all about, it is going to fulfill some growth within you. And it might take some destitution at the beginning. It might take some loss from your perspective, but the idea here is that the universe in the long term through this is actually granting you a lot of growth, and it's granting you a lot of power and a lot of stabilization. That's a very awesome card to get here for an Aries read in this scenario. It's not like your Tower is going to lead you astray here. This is definitely a sign that this Tower is for your growth, that this Tower is for your well-being. So I'm not sure here what's going on. I'm not sure if maybe what you're doing is you actually see a path forward, and maybe you've got 7 choices here. 6 of them are easy choices. 1 of them's the hard choice. And the hard choice is and you know it's a hard choice because it would lead you to this destitution, and it would lead you to this Tower. However, on the other side of that is your Emperor stability, is a different type of stability in your process and in your energy. So that is not too bad, actually. That could be a lot worse here. So I'm not exactly sure what the choices are in your predicament. I'm not quite sure what options you have on the table, but at the end of the day, the hardest choice to make, despite maybe some of the short-term consequences, is going to lead to a different type of long-term stability that is not just stability, but it's natural in your energy. Very, very cool to see this here for you, Aries. Very awesome. So let's move on to some clarifiers here then. Let's start off with 5 of Pentacles. How many cards is this? So here's 3 cards that are on the way out, so we're going to take all 3 of them as clarifiers for 3 of Pentacles, and let's see what we've got. 5 of Swords, Queen of Swords, and the Justice card. So 5/5. Sword energy, that is actually something that your fire energy is empowered by. Your natural fire energy from Aries is empowered by 5 of Swords energy. It's empowered by Queen of Swords energy. And if we take a look, the Justice card has a sword and has a picture, has sword symbolism in it. And it is also Libra energy, so that is in and of itself wind. So this is an extremely empowering trio of cards here for you. So essentially kind of what I'm seeing here is whatever this choice is, whatever this harder choice is, it could lead you into some short-term maybe feeling isolated, feeling left out in the cold, so to speak, feeling as if you are in destitution. And a lot of times what that comes from is turning away from people, and that's exactly what Five of Swords is all about. The Five of Swords is about moving on with a path that you see is better for you, which speaks to the Seven of Cups core energy here, because you have a bunch of different choices and different options here, and it looks as if those options are in regards to people to some degree, because what it looks like is you see certain options for you that are better, but there's people around you that sort of want you to stick into your comfort zone. And there's probably a part of you that can see what lies beyond, but you also understand that to move in that direction, you have to pull off this Five of Swords incident where you choose the better path that you see for yourself, and you have to let the chips fall where they may with the paths the others want to take. And so unfortunately what I'm seeing here is, of course, in the short term at least, if you do choose to do that, it is in the righteous energy. So it is suggesting that it would be good for you to do this in order to push this journey along and to make this best choice for you. There will be some short-term consequences of those people not appreciating you leaving them behind like that, or not appreciating your will to move on in this direction that is different from what they see as a good choice. And I don't know if it's friends or family or roommates or whatever it is, but they might be some kind of support materially for you, some kind of material stability in your life. They are very likely they're very likely a piece of what you're going to lose, which is why this Five of Pentacles is here. Because when you pull this Five of Swords off and you lose these people, you also lose their material stability, which is part of what puts you into Five of Pentacles energy. So that makes a lot of sense. Moving on from that, Queen of Swords. That is about a very rational energy. Definitely very head over heart energy. Stabilizing your emotions to make a decision that is better in a rational sense. So the energy is definitely it's very much matched in with what it would take to make this Five of Swords decision. If you were going to move on in this fashion, you're probably afraid to some degree. You're afraid to feel like this. You're afraid to feel the destitution of the Five of Pentacles. You could very likely be afraid to go with the conflict of the Five of Swords, and you're very likely afraid to go through the tribulation of the Tower. All of that is made easier if you can embrace your Queen of Swords energy, which once again, the Queen of Swords energy is something that fans the flames of your natural Aries nature. So it's not too far removed from something that could feel natural to you. But essentially the warning here, or not exactly the warning, but sort of the messaging here is that you're not going to be able to take this journey by just rolling with how you feel about it. Because if you only stick with how you feel about this, you're going to kind of stay complacent and stick to the comfort that everybody else sees for you. And you aren't going to take the leap necessary to have this Tower incident and then move on to your true core of the Emperor. So, very interesting in that regard. At the very end here, the Justice card. That is a card about cause and effect coming through. You know, the universe works off of cause and effect. It works off of every action has an opposite and equal reaction. It's essentially a card of inevitability that whatever momentum is built up must come down. That there aren't any special cases where the universe is just going to magically break its own rules. It's whatever causes have been built up, their effects are imminent. And that is the most important thing that the universe can do, is make sure that it sticks to its own guns. And the Justice card is insinuating here then in the upright that those things are going to pan out as they must. So, sort of another warning here. The Justice card is insinuating that if it's once again another sign to you that if you choose to take this new path, understand that there are going to be some natural consequences. And those consequences are when you defy these individuals in this Five of Swords energy, when you break off on your own path, there are going to be some natural consequences to that, in that they aren't necessarily going to appreciate it very much. Especially if you are very critical of them in this break, or even just the fact that you choosing to say that you don't agree with their choices is a form of attack, basically. And that's what the cards are suggesting here, which is why they would leave you out in the dust, out in the cold, so to speak, and force you into this tower scenario. So, lucky for you, though, you have justice in the upright. So, it's not a warning that it's indignant what you're doing. It's a sign of dignified action. Therefore, on the flip side of the Justice card, then, the short-term cause and effect would be dealing with these energies of Five of Pentacles, the Tower. Long-term, though, you're going to reach the Emperor. That is the path you're moving forward to. That is the best option in your Seven of Cups. And that is what reaching into this Queen of Swords energy will allow you to reach for. Because you're applying a new causes into the universe that can move you beyond this stagnation that I'm seeing in here for you. So, not too bad, actually. Not too bad. Let us see what we can get for the Tower, then. Potential to be a very interesting clarifier. Let me see here. Timer's at 16 minutes. Okay, so the first clarifier for the Tower, we've got the Wheel of Fortune. Wow. When you choose to take this new journey, when you choose to move on from these individuals, fate is going to be at your back. Fate is going to be the wind and the sail that you have opened up to allow this new experience into your existence. So it's not just that the Tower is occurring, it's that fate is on board with this Tower. Fate is at your back with this Tower scenario. So it's another sign here that in the short term it might feel heavy. In the short term there might be some tribulations to grow out of this scenario. But at the end of the day, on the spiritual realm, Spirit has your back. Fate has your back. And this Tower is for your own good. This Tower is for your growth and your expansion into your true energy as the Emperor, Aries energy, Emperor stability, divine masculinity. So, very, very good. That's very powerful. Let us continue. Alright. So, second clarifier on the Tower, we've got, Nine of Swords reversed. Very good. So, releasing anxiety, no longer being trapped within certain mentalisms that hold you down. In an essence, it's the better side of this Queen of Swords. When this Queen of Swords can embrace her better energy, her mentalisms serve her as opposed to deter her. And moving on from that is apparently a key of why this can happen for you. So that almost leads me to believe then, to a certain extent, that these people aren't only looking for their own complacency in this, but they also have you trapped in a certain anxiety that you're not fond of. And once again, with how this wind, the sword and wind energy sort of bellows your natural Aries fire, when you're stuck in that anxiety, it's really strong. It really is, your fire really amplifies that anxious mentalism. So seeing it in the reverse here is essentially what this Tower is going to be clearing for you. You're going to be leaving behind the situation that kept you in that anxious notion and kept you out of a clear mentalism to choose the best path for you. So, not bad. It's not bad for the idea of why you are moving on from this. Alright, so let's get the final clarifier for the Tower, please. Final clarifier for the Tower. Ah, crud. Okay, so this one actually came out here. So let's wrap up the Tower with Page of Pentacles in reverse. So that's a little strange because it is kind of a warning here that you are going to be a little down on your enthusiasm as this whole thing is transpiring. So maybe you thought when you left these people behind that they would see your side if you stood up for yourself. And when you see how the chips actually fall, you may find yourself disappointed in the results of those actions. You might find that your anticipations have let you down. And that's too bad, because this is all pointing to you on a strong path here. But this is suggesting that you will probably have a period during this Tower where you are disappointed in your experience, and that's too bad. But you know, if you're in the midst of this, it's probably not going to feel the greatest. Hopefully, if you're here listening to this, you can kind of be warned to that. And hold on, my cat's deciding to show up. Sorry, don't screw up my camera, dude. Don't screw up my setup, little turd. Alright, so as long as my cat doesn't screw something up here. Okay, she's getting out of the way. Stormy, Stormy, look out. Okay. So that's the bottom line for that one. It might be, you might have some trouble in the midst, in the depths of this transformation, feeling hyper enthusiastic about things. So that's unfortunate. It is unfortunate. It almost makes me want to try and pick a different card for you, but that was the card that wanted to come out, so I'm going to go with that one. Alright, so let's end this off with the Emperor clarifications. Clarifications on the Emperor, please. Alright, so first Emperor clarifier, we've got Four of Wands. Once again, your stability, 4-4. That is about, that has to do with finding a different sense of like what the bedrock of reality actually is. Evolving beyond simply the material realm and really finding some stability in higher power. So Four of Wands, plus it's Aries energy or fire energy, very natural. It is about stabilizing your situation. It's about finding something better for yourself. And following the Emperor, it's extremely stable energy. It's not this Page of Pentacles in reverse. It's not this Five of Pentacles energy. It's not going through the Tower any longer. And it's not the anxiety of the Nine of Swords if it were in the upright. And lined up with the Wheel of Fortune and the Five of Swords, it is a great sign that, once again, on the other side of this Tower, you are going to find some extreme stability in your Aries nature, which is very natural if you can find this Emperor, the source of this Emperor's strength. These cards go hand in hand in terms of that stability. So very, very good. Whoa. And I didn't even have to shuffle there. These last two cards came right out. Look at this for you. Ten of Cups and the freaking Two of Wands. At the end of the day, this stability is going to yield you the ability to find the happiness that you've always wanted. When you started this, when you looked into your experience about the differences of variety that you have on the table, the best expansion of that is the Ten of Cups. It is that primordial happiness. It is that ability to come together in not just your personal happiness, but within happiness with others. So that's very strong, and very powerful. And then at the end of that Two of Wands, it's not just that you reach the Ten of Cups and you're fulfilled. You also have such a great stability set up here that you have the ability to look beyond and continue to find your stability and continue to find the ways that you can approach life for your well-being. So this is honestly an amazing read. There's some toughness in the center of this with going through the necessary actions to find this growth and find this stability. But at the end of the day, the Emperor and the Four of Wands, being able to find that stability is exactly what you want as an Aries. It's exactly what you're looking for in order to stabilize your world, and so you can embrace life to its fullest as you truly desire, and so you can move on from being stuck under other people's complacency. And it might be scary to make that first step. It might be scary to challenge those individuals, and you might be right in the idea that challenging them could lead them to leave you behind because they find it an attack, an affront on them. But if they can't see a better way forward, the universe itself wants you to reach for your greatest experience. And if you can do that, barring the tribulations that you might have to go through in the short term, and barring how disappointing that might feel, at the end of the day, you have one heck of a reward from the universe for it. You have one heck of a result for choosing that well-being for yourself, as opposed to letting others keep you stuck in mediocrity. So, that's all I've got for you, Aries. It's a very awesome reading. This is a very powerful reading. It's a very strong reading of growth, and growth in the way the universe intends, which is by sometimes you've got to go down to go up even further. But it's very beautiful. This reading is very beautiful. So I definitely appreciate that you're here, and I hope that you can figure out what this means for you. And if you can figure out how to move into this Emperor energy, you will find so much stability and happiness that your life will never be the same. So thank you very much for being here. Take care, and good luck.